Morning, everyone. Rudolph here. This morning, I'm going to keep it simple. I basically just want to read the word. Today's Torah reading is Genesis or Bereshit, chapter 1 to chapter 6, verse 8. I don't really know if I'll be able to read the whole thing all at once out loud, but I will try my best. But before I go into the reading, I want to share something with you. I found a rock. Perfect. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a piece missing. But I think this rock is perfect. To me, this rock has cracks, and there's even a piece missing, and that describes us. How we are when we come to God. But God takes us, He fills the piece that is missing, and He repairs the cracks, and we are just like new. That is what this rock itself represents to me. So, take a good look. Right here. You see it's piece missing and all the cracks in the rock, like us, before God gets a hold of us. But then God gets a hold of us and repairs the cracks, and He replaces His Son with the missing piece in us. So let's go right down to our scripture reading, Bereshit chapter 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the Shamayim, or heaven, and the earth came to be formless and empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Ruach, or the Spirit of Elohim, or God, was moving on the face of the waters. And Elohim said, "Let light come to be," and light came to be. And Elohim saw that the light, that it was good, and Elohim separated the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness He called night. And there was the evening, and it came to be morning, day 1. And Elohim said, "Let an expanse come to be in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And Elohim made the expanse and separate the waters which were under the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse. And it came to be so. And Elohim called the expanse Shamayim, or heaven. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the second day. And Elohim said, "Let the waters under the Shamayim be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it came to be so. And Elohim said, "The dry land, earth." And Elohim called the dry land earth, and the collection of the waters He called seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the plant that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth." And it came to be so. And the earth brought forth grass, the kind to its kind, and the tree that yield fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning the third day. And Elohim said, let light come to be in the expanse at the Shemayim to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and appointed times and for days and for years, and let them be for lights in the expanse of the Shemayim to give light on the earth. And it came to be so. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. And Elohim placed them in the expanse in the Shemayim to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning the fourth day. Verse 20. And Elohim said, let the waters teem with shoals of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth on the face of the expanse of the Shemayim. And Elohim created great sea creatures, and every living creature that moves, with which the waters teemed, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim Barak means to bless. So Elohim Barak, or blessed them, saying, bear fruit and increase, and fill the waters in the sea, and let the birds increase in the earth. And there came to be morning, and there came to be evening the fifth day. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth living creature according to its kind, livestock and creeping creatures and beasts of the earth according to its kind. And it came to be so. And Elohim said, the beasts of the earth according to its kind. And Elohim made the beasts of the field according to its kind, livestock according to its kind, and all that creep on the earth according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the Shemayim, or heaven, and over the livestock, and over the earth, and over all the creeping creatures that creep on the earth. And Elohim created the man And Elohim created man in his image. In the image of Elohim, he created him, male and female, he created them. And Elohim Barak, or blessed them. And Elohim said to them, bear fruit and increase, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the Shemayim, and over the creatures moving on the waters. And Elohim said, see, I have given you every plant that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, and to you it is for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every creeping creature on the earth, in which there is breath of life. Every green plant is for food. And it came to be so. And Elohim saw all that he had made, and see, it was very good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning the sixth day. Okay, I want to explain a few words. So, those are Hebrew words. Shemayim is Hebrew for heavens or heaven. Elohim is a Hebrew word. It's a title for God. And Barak is Hebrew, and it means to bless. Bereshit means Genesis, and we are in Bereshit chapter 2. Thus the Shemayim and the earth was completed, and all their array. And on the seventh day Elohim completed his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim Barak the seventh day, or he blessed the seventh day, and made it Kodesh. Kodesh is the Hebrew word for holy, because on it he rested from all his work which Elohim in creating had made. Thus are the birds of the Shemayim and the earth, and they were created in the day that Jehovah Elohim made earth and Shemayim. Not one shrub in the field was yet on the earth, and no plant in the field and yet sprung up. For Jehovah Elohim had sent rain, For Jehovah Elohim had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground, but a mist went up from the earth and watered the entire surface of the ground. And Jehovah Elohim formed a man out of the dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostril breath of life, and the man became a living soul. And Yahweh Elohim planted the garden Eden to the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground Jehovah Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, with the tree that high or live in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the river went out of the garden to water the garden, and from there it divided and became 4 riverheads. The name of the first is Pison. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium is there, and the Shoam stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. It is one surrounding the entire land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. It is the one which goes toward the east of Ashur, and the fourth is Perath. And Jehovah Elohim took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to guard it. And Jehovah Elohim commanded the man, saying, Eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day that you eat of it, you shall certainly die. And Jehovah Elohim said, It is not good for man to be alone, and I'm going to make a helper for him, as his counterpart. And from the ground Jehovah Elohim formed every beast of the field and every bird of the Shemayim, and brought them to the man to see what he should call them. And whatever he called each living creature, that was its name. So that man gave names to every livestock, and to every bird, and to every Shemayim bird of the So the man gave names to all livestock, and to the birds of the Shemayim, and to every beast of the field. But for the man there was not found a helper for him as his counterpart. Verse 21. So Jehovah Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and he slept. And he took one of the ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. And the rib which Jehovah Elohim had taken from the man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And the man said, This is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one is called woman, because she was taken out of man. For this cause a man shall leave his father and mother, and join unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and the woman, yet they were not ashamed. Bereshit chapter 3. And the serpent was more crafty than any beast in the field of Jehovah Elohim he made. And he said to the woman, Is it true that Elohim has said, Do not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, We are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. But of the tree of the garden, which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, Do not eat of it, nor touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said to the woman, You shall certainly not die, for Elohim knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing good and evil. And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasing to the eyes, and the tree desirable to make one wise. And she took of the fruit and ate, and she gave also to her husband with her, and he ate. And then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made loin coverings for themselves. Verse 8. And they heard the sound of Jehovah Elohim walking about in the garden in the cool of day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves in the presence of Jehovah Elohim among the trees of the garden. And Jehovah Elohim called unto Adam and said to him, Where are you? And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, so I hid myself. And he said, Who made you know that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat? And the man said, The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me and of the tree, and I ate. Excuse me. That's better. Verse 13. And Jehovah Elohim said to the woman, What is this you have done? And the woman said, The serpent deceived me, and I ate. And Jehovah Elohim said to the serpent, Because you have done this, you are cursed more than any livestock, and more than any beast of the field. On your abdomen you are to go, and eat dust all the days of your life. And I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. You shall crush his head, and let's do 15 over. And I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. And he shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel. To the woman he said, I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception. Bring forth children in pain, and your desire is for your husband, and he rules over you. And to the man he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, do not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you are to eat of it all. Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you are to eat, and of it all the days of your life, and it shall bring forth thorns and thistles for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you are to eat bread until you turn to the ground, for out of it you were taken. For dust you are, and dust you shall return. And the man called his wife's name Hava, otherwise known as Eve, because she became the mother of all living. And Jehovah Elohim made coats of skin for the man and his wife, and dressed him. And Jehovah Elohim said, see, the man has become like one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of high or life, and eat and live forever. So Yahweh Elohim sent him out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken. And he drove the man out, and he placed cherubim, or known as cherubim, at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way of the tree of high, or the tree of life. Chapter 4. And Adam knew Hava, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have gained a man from Jehovah. And again he gave birth to his brother Hebel. And Hebel became a keeper of sheep, but Cain became a tiller of the ground. So here he talks about the birth of Cain and Abel. And it came to be in the course of time that Cain brought an offering and the fruit of the ground to Jehovah. And Hebel also brought the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And Jehovah looked to Hebel and his offering, and he did not like Cain and his offering. And Cain was very wroth, and his face fell. And Jehovah said to Cain, why are you wroth, and why is your face fallen? If you do well, is there not acceptance? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door, and its desire is for you, but you should master it. And Cain told Hebel, his brother, Come, let us go into the field. And it came to be, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and killed him. And Jehovah said to Cain, Where is Abel, your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's God? And he said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. And now you are cursed from the earth, which is opened its mouth to receive the brother's blood from the earth. If you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you, and you shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth. And Cain said to Jehovah, My wickedness is too great to bear. See, you have driven me from home. See, you have driven me from the face of the earth, of the ground today, and I am hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and it shall be that everyone who finds me kills me. And Jehovah said to him, Well, if anyone kills Cain, vengeance is taken on him sevenfold. And Jehovah placed a sign on Cain, lest anyone finding him kills him. Verse 16. So Cain went out from the presence of Jehovah and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Hanok. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Hanok. And to Hanok was born Arad. And Arad begat forth Mahulalel. And Mahulalel brought forth Methuselah. And Methuselah brought forth Lamech. And Lamech took for himself 2 wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other was Zillah. And Ada bore Jabal. He was the father of those who dwelt in tents with livestock. Verse 21. And his brother's name was Jubal, and his father of and was the father of all those who play lyre and flute. As for Zillah, she also bore Tubal Cain, a smith of the kinds of tools of bronze and iron, and the sister of Tubal Cain was Nahamah. And Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, Hear my voice, my wives of Lamech. Listen to my words, for I have killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me. For Cain is avenged sevenfold, and Lamech 70 times 7. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and called his name Seth. For Elohim has appointed me another seed instead of Hebel, because of Cain, and slain him. And to Seth, to him also, verse 26, and to Seth, to him also a son was born, and he called his name Enoch. Then it was begun to call the name of Yahweh, or Jehovah. Chapter 5. This is the book of the genealogy of Adam. On the day that Elohim created man, he made him in the likeness of Elohim. Male and female, he created them, and he baraked them, and called their name Adam in the day they were created. As I said before, barak means to bless. Verse 3, and Adam lived 130 years, and brought forth a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. Now, I'm going to read verse 3 again. Remember verse 3 because it plays a vital role in here. Verse 3 again. And Adam lived 130 years, and he brought forth a son in whose Adam's likeness, after whose Adam's image, and called his name Seth. And after he brought forth Seth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. And Seth lived 105 years, and brought forth Enoch. And after he brought forth Enoch, Seth lived 117. And after he brought forth Enoch, Seth lived 807 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 days, and he died. And Enoch lived 90 years, and brought forth Kenan. And after he brought forth Kenan, Enoch lived 815 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Enoch were 905 years, and he died. And Kenan lived 70 years, and brought forth Mahalalel. And he brought forth Mahalalel. Kenan lived 840 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Kenan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years, and brought forth Yered. And after he brought forth Yered, Mahalalel lived 838 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Mahalalel were 875 years, and he died. Verse 6, Yered lived 162 years, and he brought forth Hanok. And after he brought forth Hanok, Yered lived 800 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. All the days of Yered were 962 years, and he died. And Hanok lived 65 years, and brought forth Methuselah. And after he brought forth Methuselah, Hanok walked with Elohim 300 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Hanok were 365 years. Hanok is also a very important person. You know him in the English as Enoch. And Methuselah lived 187 years, and brought forth Lamech. And after he brought forth Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years, and brought forth a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, This one comforts us, concerning our work, and the toil of the hands, because of the ground which Jehovah has cursed. And after he brought forth Noah, Lamech lived 595 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech were 727 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah brought forth Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Chapter 6. And it came to pass, and it came to be, when men began to increase in the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the son of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were good. And they took wives for themselves of all whom they choose. And Jehovah said, My Ruach, or my spirit, shall not strive with man forever in his going astray. He is flesh, and his days shall be 120 years. And Nephilim were in the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of Elohim came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, the men of name. Verse 5. And Jehovah said that the wickedness of man was created in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the heart was only evil continually. And Jehovah was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. And Jehovah said, I am going to wipe off man, whom I created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping creatures, and the birds of the Shemayim, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of Jehovah. There you have this week's Torah reading in the Bereshit, which is from Bereshit, or Genesis, chapter 1 to Bereshit, chapter 6, verse 8. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you get to read it, get to study it. There are some verses that are very important, and to me at least, there's one of those verses is in Bereshit, or Genesis, chapter 3, verse 15. Let me read this to you real quick. Okay. And I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall bruise his heel. And the other verse that is very important to me, which helps to explain a lot, which I will cover in a later program. I will go through this again, and I will cover this, but it is very important to me, and this verse is from Bereshit, or Genesis, chapter 5, verse 3. And here it says, And Adam lived 130 years and brought forth a son in his own likeness. In other words, he didn't look like God no more. He looked like, his son Seth looked like Adam, and in the image. And so Seth was in the image and the likeness of Adam, and called his name Seth. I will go over this at a later time. These two verses are very important, and They mean a lot to me, and they explain a lot, which I will explain later on, but I hope you enjoyed this Bible reading of Bereshit, chapter 1 through chapter 6, verse 8, and till the next Bible reading. I bless you, and I wish you a shalom. May Jehovah God go before you and guide you. May his light be upon you, and may his ruach, his breath, fill you at all times. In Yeshua's name. Amen.